you're talking directly with lawmakers, and having a little bit of poise, because sometimes we don't agree with the things that our lawmakers are presenting, and so having that type of poise and respect, so really teaching them how to be the civic leaders of our city for the future.
Welcome to the IAAQLI 6 Pillars in Action podcast, where we deep dive into the transformative impact of the work being done in Indianapolis Black communities. Get ready to be inspired by the incredible projects and organizations making a real difference in the lives of Indianapolis residents. And that conversation starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of the 6 Pillars in Action podcast, where we take an in-depth look at the incredible work of the IAAQLI, or the Indianapolis African American Quality of Life Initiative. I am your host, Samantha Douglas, and I am, one, excited that you're back with us, but then two, super excited to have Misha Wide here with us today from the Children's Policy and Law Initiative of Indiana. So how are you doing today? Like, how has things been with the climate, with everything? Policy and law, it feels like it's probably heavy.
Yes. This past legislative session was a lot. So it was a heavy year, but re-energized and really looking forward to just helping the community be able to advocate on the best interests of youth.
Yeah. So tell us more about the initiative and what do you guys do?
Okay. The mission of Children's Policy and Law Initiative of Indiana is to advocate and advance systemic change so that programs, policies, and procedures are academically appropriate and age appropriate for children. And that way, everything that's going to be done with the best interests of youth is going to make sure that they're having an opportunity to thrive and be successful into adulthood.
Yeah, I love that. I'm not sure that I knew that before. Okay. I've been to some of you all's events. I even helped with an event at Martin.
Okay.
And stuff like that, help facilitate conversations, things like that with youth. But that's amazing though. Not that long ago, I found out that children's ratings, on movies and stuff, is this random board of people that decide this stuff. Yeah, so it's when I hear stuff like this, I'm always so grateful that there's somebody who knows kids, knows what they're doing, and is in this space, helping. So with that, what did you do before this? What led you to the Children's Policy and Law Initiative?
It's funny you say that, because when you think about policy and law, people expect that I have a legal background or some type of attorney education. My background is in youth development.
Yes.
Just before this, I was in health equity, so making sure that Black families, Black individuals had access to sexual health and advocacy in that space. But ultimately, the past 25 years of my career has been about quality of life for Black families, especially with the lens of health and wellness. And so making sure that we have access and really resource to live happier and healthier.
Yeah. No, I prefer that you would have a background in kids rather than, because policy and law, it's but advocacy, you got to know the people that you're trying to protect and work for.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So when you, with you all's policies and initiatives and things like that you guys are working on, what are some of the top ones that you guys are doing right now?
Yeah, so we started our organization around making sure that educators had access to best practices. And so the real origination of the organization was because at the time in 2012, the disproportionality of discipline was really seeing a lot of Black and brown youth that were suspended and expelled. And so we wanted to see how can we make sure that teachers and even just other people in the building that come in contact with youth had access to appropriate training and different skills so that they could help minimize the school to prison pipeline. And so that started around community conversations and probably some of those things that you were involved with at Martin. And so just really talking about what are the needs, what are the ways that we can advocate for youth, and making sure that teachers have a shift in mindset and opportunities to learn what's going to be the best way for them to connect. And so that started our Positive School Discipline Institute. Since its inception, we've been able to train 72 school teams.
Oh, my God.
And so each of those teams has a makeup of 5 to 10 people that are either teachers, school resource officers, guidance counselors, but also including administrators. So making sure that leadership is involved And it's just giving them different ways to connect and have mindfulness and opportunities to focus on wellness and different things like that in the schools. So that's our program that focuses on educators. From that program, again, we incorporated some youth voices, so making sure that we were listening to what they said were the issues. We developed our Youth Justice Leadership Program, and with that, we take youth and have workshops, take them to the State House, and so they can actually talk to stakeholders and lawmakers.
So I know you just mentioned youth. Outside of just involving them in that initiative, what are the other ways you guys engage like youth and make sure that you're actually like effectively representing them and their interests and perspective?
Yeah, so we have a workshop that's around advocacy for youth and giving them a toolkit of resources to say, what are those issues that you and your peers are seeing? What are some of the concerns that you have? And how to connect them to those resources in the community that can help them navigate that a little better. And so not only do we have that workshop, but it's a summit at the end of our cohort that will allow them to actually share some of the research about those issues that they have.
Oh, that's amazing. So when you heard about this opportunity with the IAAQLI grant, where did you find that alignment or did you find alignment with you guys' mission? Is that what encourages you to apply for it or?
So the program started with IAAQLI prior to my starting with the organization, but it very much is in alignment with our programs around being culturally responsive and making sure that educators have the best tools to be able to support their students,
Yeah.
And so that way, I think the pillars of IAAQLI at the beginning were focused around making sure teachers had that kind of training, so enhancing and making sure there's qualified and quality professional development for educators. And so it was a perfect alignment in what we were doing and what IAAQLI was looking for.
Is there other ways? I know you talked a little bit about before, like the school to prison pipeline and how, our children of color, especially our Black kids, are getting like more punished or punishments more severe and things like that. Like, are there other things too that they see in school outside? Because I feel like every time we talk about it, we only talk about punishment. Was there other things in the schools that you all saw that also needed to be addressed?
So we instantly saw a shift from some of the schools that were participating in our program where they incorporated different opportunities throughout the day for students to have breaks or like mindfulness rooms and even incorporating that for staff.
Yeah.
Because if we think about the staff, they're humans and they have sometimes different issues that they may be dealing with, and so they'll look for ways to mitigate that and incorporating mindfulness throughout the day.
Yeah, I briefly worked at a middle school, and for Teachers Appreciation, they love to send a sucker around or some candy or something. And I used to tell them all the time, y'all, these teachers don't want no candy. Like, pay some massage therapists to be down there so on their prep period they can come get a massage or that's how you show some appreciation.
Yeah.
Give them a moment to like relax or like come down from the day because it's hard dealing with kids all day. It is super hard.
I've even seen some schools incorporate kind of like a quiet room or just a space that is going to allow for teachers to take those breaks and sometimes a little mini nap if they need to, something like that. Yeah.
So how did you all prioritize the IAAQLI funds? What did it specifically fund?
So the funding primarily focused on us being able to hire a person that was dedicated for this program.
Okay.
And that individual has a very extensive background in social work and looking at different ways to protect youth and having that kind of training and bringing in different trainers throughout the country to come in and bring in some resources to teachers.
Have you guys had any stories in specific through this program initiative that really stick out to you?
And that's why I mentioned some of my favorites already because it's amazing to see people actually put the training into action right away.
Yeah.
And you can see a mindset shift with those educators by hearing about a lesser amount of suspensions or a lesser amount of students being taken out of class and even seeing an increase in graduation rates. So knowing that simple changes about how to have a better connection with students are going to lead to that type of outcome.
How, like, so moving forward with this, I don't know if you guys have applied for the most recent one. I hope you have. But moving forward, how does these funds help you all with sustainability of such programs, so that even, if or once this funding opportunity is no longer there, you guys can continue this work?
So the expansion of our program is to actually look at the students and encouraging them to go into education or go into social work, and really looking at the pathways for our students to actually do this work. And so we kind of started that with a pilot with this program by looking at some of the local universities and talking to those pre-service teachers in their first and second year to say, as you're training, think about these community partnerships. Think about these ways that you can better connect with the youth instead of being focused on punitive actions. And so our hope is that as we expand the program and continue forward, that we're encouraging more young people to become our teachers, to become our administrators, and really pouring into them and giving them internship opportunities so that they can.
I know you mentioned you all's cohort a little bit ago, but can you tell us more of what that does? So does that help with like leadership development and things like that with these kids, so that it teaches them to then like begin to advocate for themselves? Okay, can you give us more about that?
So the youth program initially was focused on leadership development and teaching them how to be advocates in their community. From that, they're able to issue spots, so seeing what are some of the concerns with different issues that may have popped up in the community, doing the research, finding the data to support what their position is, and teaching them about how to handle themselves with public speaking, or how to actually present, and taking them to the State House so that they're talking directly with lawmakers, and having a little bit of poise, because sometimes we don't agree with the things that our lawmakers are presenting, and so having that type of poise and respect, so really teaching them how to be the civic leaders of our city for the future.
And how many kids are in these cohorts?
So the cohort is made up of 25 youth.
Okay.
What's really cool about that is that we bring together several different youth organizations in the city. So these are their leaders that we're training to be the leaders of their organizations.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. So is that how the kids get into it then?
Yep.
Through other organizations. Can you tell us some of those partners?
Absolutely.
Like, what are those?
So we've partnered with Inner Beauty, New Boy, MLK Center, and Struggle University.
Oh, okay.
So having students that come from those programs, they're vetted. These are students that they've got some type of accountability with an adult partner that participates in the programs with them. And so that way we know they're going to be committed. They actually follow through with the 9-month program.
I love to see our kids, especially like in the State House and stuff, because, we always have this idea that like our kids don't care. And I was like, they care so passionately every time I see them. Every time I see them, every time I talk to them, they care so much about so many things. And so, like, has that been you all's experience as well?
Absolutely. And really, their response is that people don't listen to them. So the more opportunities that we give them to actually use their voice and see the power of them coming together with their statements, that is what excites me. So getting them into the State House and actually being able to make an impact and feel that pride.
Were they able, so when they went, were they able to see like tangible results of them going and speaking with legislators?
So it's really cool because we prepare them with the bills and say, here's who you'll talk to, these are the issues that you'll have. And for them to actually be, within this type of distance with a lawmaker really empowered them. And even the day that I took them to the State House this year, they were able to speak in front of a group of 300 people. And you can instantly see just the encouragement, especially for some of them, that's their first time having that kind of platform. And so just seeing that immediate sense of pride and just passion for what they were doing was exciting.
That's incredible. I didn't realize you guys were doing like so much of this. That's incredible. So moving forward, like how do you see this evolving? How do you see this program evolving?
So with us being a statewide initiative, a lot of people just hear about what we do in Marion County. And so my vision for the future of CPLI is for us to actually have more of our programs throughout the state. So we're developing our board to actually have ambassadors in some other parts of the state. Right now we've got new board members in Evansville. We've got new board members in Fort Wayne and developing the same in the Gary area. So that way, as we're talking to lawmakers that are in these different parts of the state, you're not just hearing from Marion County constituents, you're hearing from your own constituents that are actually experiencing the impact of what those laws are.
Yeah.
So that's my vision. Moving forward, having statewide representation, ultimately a youth council, so that the youth that participate in our programs will be able to come together and convene and say, this is our voice. And so having that kind of vehicle for our youth.
So how can folks find you? Like, how can youth get involved? How can parents find you to force their youth to get involved? I'm just playing, but how do they find you?
So we have a coalition that is very much focused on youth justice, and it's the Indiana Coalition for Youth Justice. You can find us on all social media platforms, and then we're also on social media as CPLI. And so just looking for ways for people, you can use your gifts and talents, either making calls, sending emails, sending letters. Lawmakers do actually take account for those calls and seeing where people are calling from, what their concerns are, because if they write something and nobody talks about it, they'll just feel like the community didn't care. And so the more that we can empower people to actually let them know what their feelings are is how we can further our mission. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. You. Super excited to have you and learn everything, all the incredible work you are doing. That's amazing. And thank you for that work. That's incredible. That was it for this segment, but we'll be right back with Edna Martin Christian Center to learn more about the incredible work they're doing on Indy's East Side.
Coming up, hear from another IAAQLI awardee and learn more about the impact and work being done in our community. And don't forget, subscribe to our podcast and visit the IAAQLI website and learn more about the work being done and ways to get involved.
Welcome back to Six Pillars in Action. I'm your host, Samantha Douglas, and we are here with Emmanuel Ivy from Edna Martin Christian Center. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about, well, one, I want to know, because obviously you're here from Edna Martin. Tell us about how you got there, though, because I was like, when they said you guys were coming, I was like, is it Barado? And then they said it.
No, little old me.
So tell me your role at Edna Martin Christian Center and how you got there.
Yes. So currently I am the executive director of our subsidiary, Edna Martin CBDO. That stands for Community-Based Development Organization. Oh, yeah. So before this position, well, I've been there now for 14 years, but for the first 11 and a half years, I oversaw our adult programming, so education, workforce development, reentry, and entrepreneurship.
Oh, nice. And what brought you into that work? Was it like, is there things that you went through, things that you saw? Like, what brought you to that work?
Well, I'm from Martindale, Brightwood, born and raised. So I actually went to Edna Martin as a child, went to their summer camps and summer activities, played on the soccer team that they had. But my mother actually went there as well. And my mother is 78 or 79 years old. Oh, my God. So it's definitely within the family. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I love stories where kids grow up at our neighborhood organizations.
Yes.
Right now our second in command at Cafe was a Cafe kid.
Oh, wow.
And now, yes, I know. That's shout out to Jamaro Johnson. Yeah. But I love hearing stories like that because it's literally like the proof that, something's going right over here.
Yes, it is.
So tell us about Edna Martin Christian Center and what you all do there.
Yes, so we are a full service social agency. We provide child care in which we work with 6-month-olds through 5-year-olds. And then from there, we have youth programming that work with youth from kindergarten through 18 or through their senior year. And then from there, we have our adult programming, which we work with opportunity youth for job readiness training, financial literacy, certification obtainment. So those are individuals who have dropped out of school from 17 to 24. And then we work with adults as well, 25 through 55 with those same services. And then we have a senior program where we work with seniors 55 and up. So we literally work with you from when you're born up
Yeah.
until, unfortunately, when you pass away.
Yeah. Wow. That is incredible. Are there other folks like you working at Edna Martin Christian Center that were kids there and then now are employed?
I don't think so any longer,
Okay.
but throughout the years that I've been there, have been several.
Yeah, yeah, because that's amazing. So, and tell us about the community that you serve, because we know that you all serve the Martindale Brightwood area,
Yes.
but what does that actually look like? Like, what is you guys' catchment?
Well, it is as far as well, the majority of our services, we serve everybody throughout Indianapolis.
Oh wow!
It's just certain things like our food pantry, which we can't serve the entire Indianapolis. We only serve Martindale Brightwood
Right.
residents. But from there, anybody throughout the city, throughout the state, can be involved in our programming.
Oh wow! I did not know that. I'm glad
Yes.
I asked that because that's amazing.
Yes.
So, what is when you look at Edna Martin Christian Center? Like, what do you think you guys' like top programs are? Because I can imagine for how long you guys been in existence, you probably have a ton.
Mhm.
So, what's those top ones, or the ones that you guys see the most success in?
Yeah. Well, I think one of our most stronger, or the strongest program, I think, is our youth programming. We work with youth within the neighborhood, within the schools that we are affiliated with, like the KIP Network, School 51, and others. So we, work with the kids within the neighborhood, but also beyond. I will also say our workforce development program. Even though I used to work within that program for years, I think I can feel that it is still one of the top, workforce job readiness training type programs within Indianapolis. And then the one that I now oversee
Yeah.
is our housing piece as well. So we have partnered with Intend Indiana and Merchants Bank to conduct our homeownership one-on-one training.
Oh, that's amazing. I was actually about to ask that because you introduced a new thing to me. I didn't know they had a subsidiary.
Yes.
But tell me what it is again.
It's Edna Martin Community-Based Development Organization,
Nice.
LLC. That's the full name.
And so right now you guys are focused on housing.
Well, from the Martindale Brightwood Quality of Life Plan, that was one of the biggest issues from that plan and from the residents, affordable housing. There is, gentrification happening within the community right now. So really want the residents to be stable, so they won't, unfortunately, be displaced, out of the neighborhood due to high rent and/or home ownership opportunities that is present. But so our goal is to combat the gentrification by purchasing properties so we can build upon them, so we can sustain the affordable housing stock in Martindale Brightwood.
Yeah, one of the things that I love about Martindale Brightwood is that, and people probably would think this is not a good thing, but I love that there's small houses. Like, because I think so many of us, we get obsessed with like all of this space, and then we have these huge houses that we can barely afford, that we don't even use. And one of the things I always loved about that community is that you have these smaller houses, 2 bedrooms, great for small families,
Yes.
great for, or our seniors or anybody, you know what I mean? I'm always disappointed that we don't do more of that.
Yeah.
So as you guys like buy properties, are you guys planning on like building more too, or just helping folks get into housing?
Yeah, we will build more. Right now, we have a grant through the city, Bank It's a Vibrant, which we are rehabbing 2 homes and constructing a new build. So that's 3 right there. We did purchase 13 vacant lots. So through additional grants like IAAQLI, it's helping support that development. So right now, the rehabs are 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Our new build is 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and then moving forward, we'll have 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
Oh, nice. So, have you guys had like success stories in you guys as like whether it's like home ownership, education, things like that? Have you had any success stories that like stick out to you?
Yes. So at the time, last year, we were still rehabbing the home, so those weren't available. we're a type of organization where we like to share the wealth. We also like to collaborate with other organizations. So when individuals come through our homeownership training, yes, we would like to sell our homes, but if they're not ready or if it's not a good fit, then we share the wealth and provide references to Intend Indiana, to INHP, to the Martindale Brightwood CDC. So actually, one of our staff went through the homeownership program. She was actually going to purchase one of our rehabs, but we had a delay in construction, which happens. So from there, she didn't want to just wait, which I understand and respect. So we referred her to Intend Indiana. They have a Home Power 2.0 program, which is a second mortgage program. So she applied for that program, and it was a great fit. And then she just became a homeowner last fall. So even though she didn't purchase one of ours, she purchased one of our partners, and then that's a great success for us.
Yeah, I love that, though, as a success story, because it shows that we can be flexible and fluid and meet people where they're at, regardless of whether it's necessarily like our thing or not.
Right,
like
exactly.
I love that, caring for people first. You know?
And, with Edna Martin and everything that we try to do within Martindale Brightwood, that's what it's all about, having great partnerships, collaborating, because not one organization or person can do it by themselves.
Right.
So even though we are a pretty big organization now, we still need help from others, and we utilize their assistance and resources to serve the residents within Martindale Brightwood.
I know that you started to touch on it a little bit, but like what kind of challenges or limitations did your IAAQLI funding help you all overcome? Yes.
Well, we had a few grants within that, but the one I'm going to specifically talk about is the one for entrepreneurship. Back in 2018, matter of fact, LISC Indy came to us asking us to serve startup organizations or startup businesses. They had a partnership with BOI, Business Ownership Initiative, in which they were providing microloans. So the individuals that were coming to BOI weren't microloan ready. So when they came to us, it was like, hey, we can do this. At the time, and still, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So even though I oversaw a workforce development reentry education, when individuals will come in for entrepreneurship and business development assistance, they'll come to see me. So it was just a perfect fit to me to transition. So back in 2019, I became the director of entrepreneurship, in which we started our free business training. And free is an acronym for fostering relationships, endeavors, and enterprises. So that's when we started our entrepreneurship work. But at the time, I was the only staff. I didn't have any other staff. So, I was the facilitator, the data entry person, front desk. I was a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, we had our cohorts, and we could only provide $500 for the winner of our pitch contest. So, applying for the IAAQLI funding, we received $500,000 over the 3-year period, in which we had the opportunity to have several pitch contests. The actual winner now receives $3,000, second place $2,000, and third place $1,000. Yeah. So that was just a great opportunity that they provided for us. Also, what I really love is the opportunity to work with several different types of Black-owned businesses. When I transitioned out of the senior director position under workforce development entrepreneurship, we didn't. Well, at the time, we had a vice president of programming, and we did have an entrepreneurship manager. Well, they transitioned out, so the grant kind of fell back into my lap, and I was removed from the grant for about a year and a half. So I just didn't have the capacity to do the training and do everything else again. So we had the opportunity to work with several different partners. Carmen Davenport from Black Dollar Indie, or Collect now. She was our facilitator and developed the curriculum. We also partnered with the Martindale Brightwood CDC to do the business coaching. We also partnered with one of my colleagues, Joy Harmon, of the Success Plug, to do additional boot camp type work to help those who were already in the program develop their strategic plan and enhance their marketing plan. So that just gave us the opportunity to work with more vendors and Black entrepreneurs to really help our program develop and thrive. So that's what came about from the last 3 to 4 years with this grant. So very appreciative of the funding, but also the opportunity to work with additional Black-owned businesses.
When you all heard about this, the next fund, or we know the window is closed now, but did you guys apply again, or and if you did, like, do you all plan to expand, or do you plan on just doing the same thing, or what's your plans?
Yes, so two things with that. This last round of funding was the fourth round or fifth round?
I think it's fourth.
Fourth round. Okay.
Fourth.
So we applied in the third round for a housing grant to help us develop the 2 rehabs and a new build. So those funds are going towards. This last round, we partnered with the Martindale Brightwood CDC to do owner-occupied repairs. So that's another thing about Martindale Brightwood. We have a lot of seniors that are homeowners within there, but also the issue is, their homes are old. And that they need a lot of repairs. So this gives us the opportunity to help those seniors sustain, the generational wealth within their home, but also sustain the residents within their house as well. So we partnered with them, but also the great thing is a lot of individuals don't have wills or trust. So we talk about generational wealth when individuals purchase a home, but how about if that owner dies and, they don't have a will, or their, grown children aren't on their deed or title, they, lose the house to probate court. Now they got to fight the courts just to get the house back. So we want to provide sustainable generational wealth. So we are going to work with Prosperity Indiana in having estate planning workshops, and then from there we have up to 20 individuals that will actually, if they don't have a will, will purchase the will for them or the trust. So this is where the funds are going towards on this last round. Owner-occupied repairs, but also estate planning and will development.
Yeah, I love that. You guys seniors are feisty over there too. I love it. I had a brief time where I got to work with One Voice, and I loved it.
Okay.
But and too, I wanted to say, after what you just said, it made me think of like how they always tell us we're in silos. But you just listed so many partnerships.
Yes,
there are so many of us that are working together to get things done to meet folks' needs, and I'm so glad that you highlighted all of those partners, because I think it's such a big deal for us to start breaking down this thing about silos, because it's just not true. We're actually doing great work.
It's not.
Yeah.
And that's where, honestly, I think where the Martindale Brightwood Quality of Life Plan comes into place. We are now city certified with this plan. So it just gives us the opportunity, as far as residents, stakeholders, community partners, to all come together and to have that one voice to really develop Martindale Brightwood and see where it needs to go within the next 5 years. So we actually just updated the plan last year. So the plan now is from 2025 through 2030.
Nice. So how can folks get connected to you all? Like, how can they find out like what you guys do, or how they can get connected to resources?
Yeah, so we have our website, ednamartincc.org. Also, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram as well. And our phone number is 317-637-3776.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us
Thank
today
you.
and sharing. Thank you all for joining us today for another episode of 6 Pillars in Action podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow us on social media at IAAQLI, and we will see you next time.
We hope you enjoyed today's 6 Pillars in Action podcast and learned more about how the IAAQLI funding is impacting our city. And remember, to stay up to date on what's happening with IAAQLI and the 6 Pillars in Action, subscribe to the podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also check out the 6 Pillars in Action newsletter, blogs, and other videos on our website at IAAQLI.org. Until next time, let's continue to celebrate the power of transformation. See you next time.